In this video I'm going to show you how to use the CSS3 transform and transform origin properties to scale these images to their full size when you hover over them like this. I've set up this page in Dreamweaver with 3 images which are inside a div. The original width of each image is 400 pixels. But if I select one of the images, you can see in the property inspector that I've removed the width and the height, because when they scale, I want them to maintain their aspect ratio. Let's take a look at the CSS styles that I've already set up for the images. The images are all slightly different heights. So what I've done is I've set them to display as inline block and vertical align middle, so they align horizontally along their center line. To scale the images when they're hovered over, I need to create a style rule that uses the hover pseudo class. So let's create one images, img, and the hover pseudo class. The property that scales images, or any other elements, is the transform property. So transform, and you can see the transform has got a lot of possible values. The one that I'm interested in is scale. You can see that what Dreamweaver has done has put in a pair of parentheses with a comma in between. The scale function can take 2 values, the first one being for the horizontal scale and the second one being for the vertical scale. If you want them to scale the same amount in both directions, then you remove the comma and just put in one value. Now, unfortunately, the transform property isn't yet fully supported by all browsers, so what you need to do is to add the vendor-specific prefixes for every browser. That's for Firefox, Internet Explorer, Opera, and the WebKit browsers. So I need to copy that and paste it 4 times. And then add the vendor-specific prefixes. So I'll add Moz, then MS for Internet Explorer, O for Opera, and WebKit. So if I just save that now, and switch to the design view and turn on live view, it's not working. Let's see why. Let's take a look at the styles again. I see the problem. I've got the wrong name for the div. It should be images. Let's save that again. And then go back into live view. And now you can see that the images are scaling. But there's a problem that I've got. This image on the left is scaling so much that it's going off the left of the screen. What I need to do is to control the point from which the scaling begins, the point from which the transformation begins. And to do that, you need to use the transform origin property. So let's go out of live view and back into the style sheet. Now, my first image is called Sushi JPG. So what I can do is I can create a selector that uses an attribute selector that looks at the last part of an attribute's value. So what I want to do is create a rule for img, open square brackets, src, then $ equals sushi.jpg. And I need to add the transform origin. The transform origin property can take 2 values. The first value is the horizontal position of the origin, and the second one is the vertical one. If you have just one value, then the other one is assumed to be center. what I want to do is to transform. I want to scale this image from the center of the left-hand side. So I'll just use left. And again, I need to add the vendor-specific prefixes. So I need 4 copies of that. And add in the vendor-specific prefixes. -mos, -ms, -o, and -webkit. And if we save that, and then go into live view, again, it's not working, so let's see what the problem with the style rule is. Ah, yes. There is a period, the dot, in the middle of the name. So normally you don't need to have the values in quotes, but because there's a period in the middle there, I need to wrap that value in quotes. And if I save it again, go back into live view, you see it is now transforming from the left-hand side. The middle one transforms from the center, which is exactly what we want, but this one, well, it still fits within the window, but it'd be much nicer if we do it from the right. So we'll do that again. Let's just check the name. This one is called Stone-Lantern JPG. I think Lantern JPG is enough for me. And to save time, I'm just going to copy that rule and paste it. Change that to Lantern JPG, and then instead of left, I need these to be right. Just save that. Go back into live view. And yes, it's now transforming from the center point on the right. So that's how you scale elements and control the point from which the transformation begins and to which it returns. The transformation is instant, but many browsers also support the transition property, which smooths the animation over a specified duration.